Our story begins in a quiet, sun-drenched field. The camera zooms in close, focusing on a single, beautiful flower. A tiny honeybee lands on its petals, and two cousins, Teddy and Don, watch it very closely. Teddy starts explaining things to Don. He says, "These bees are amazing because they collect pollen and drop it onto other flowers to create the food we eat." But then, Teddy's voice drops. He says something terrible is happening. All the bees are dying. Don asks why, and Teddy reveals a dark secret. He believes this is a massive conspiracy. He claims the world's most powerful companies are killing the bees on purpose just to control the food supply. But Teddy doesn't stop there. He shares an even bigger shock. He thinks humans aren't actually in charge of Earth. He believes aliens or some other hidden forces are pulling the strings. He tells Don they have to work together to stop this. Teddy has done a ton of research, and right then and there, he makes Don his partner. The training begins. They run, they exercise, and they do all sorts of strange drills to prepare for a fight against these aliens. When Don asks why they're pushing themselves so hard, Teddy explains that the enemy will try to weaken their minds and their bodies. They have to be ready for anything. Teddy then demands that Don remove all distractions. He says, "From today on, no smoking, no gaming, and no phones or screens, unless we're searching for something for the mission." Don is nervous. Everyone else sees him as just a normal kid, but Teddy insists. Don is brilliant. He tells him not to worry, that he's going to do great. Teddy gives Don a warm hug and says, "You are my best friend, and everything I do is to protect you." Then, things take a heavy turn. Teddy brings out a syringe filled with a chemical. He believes this shot will stop their inner desires. See? Teddy thinks the aliens use human desires to control us, and by shutting those desires down, they can finally own their own minds and break free. Don trusts his cousin completely, so he takes the injection. Meanwhile, we see their target, a woman named Michelle. She's a CEO, and we see her practicing a speech, looking absolutely exhausted. She heads to her office, unaware of what's coming. Teddy and Don are ready. They've put on suits and are waiting outside her house. As soon as she returns, they launch a quick attack. But Michelle isn't an easy target. She fights back hard. She knocks Don out with a single punch. Teddy tries to use pepper spray, but she kicks him right in the leg, sending him flying into the bushes. Teddy lunges again, and again she hits him down. She tries to run, but suddenly she collapses. It turns out Teddy managed to inject her with a sedative. The two men drag her into a car and drive away into the night. They've kidnapped Michelle because Teddy is convinced she's an alien. While they're driving, Teddy tells Don to shave her head. He believes aliens use hair as antennae to send signals and track people. So, Don shaves her bald. They take her to the basement of an old, secluded house. They burn her clothes and all her devices. Then, they cover her in a strange white cream. Teddy explains that this cream will stop her nervous system. He tells Don that even though she looks human, she's alien on the inside, and this cream will weaken her. When Michelle finally wakes up, she finds herself tied to a bed, bald, and covered in that white cream. Teddy and Don are standing over her in their suits. Terrified, she asks if she's in a hospital. Teddy tells her she's at the resistance base. He's acting very strange. One minute he's respectful, the next he's screaming in anger. He tells her they know her secret. Michelle is in total shock. She asks about her hair, and Teddy calmly says he cut it so she couldn't call her spaceship. Michelle tries to be logical. She says, "I'm a CEO. If I vanish, the police and the FBI will hunt for me. You'll be caught. But if you make a deal and let me go now, I promise I won't call the police." Teddy just laughs. He thinks she's a great actress, but he knows she's a high-ranking alien out to enslave the world. He demands she take them to her ship during the upcoming eclipse so they can strike a deal. Michelle stands her ground. She insists she's human. She admits, "Look, I'm older than I look, but it's just diet and skincare." This makes Teddy furious. He shows her some photos he considers proof and gives her an ultimatum: confess by the eclipse or die. He screams that she's the one who caused the death of their parents and destroyed their family farms. He storms out, and he and Don celebrate their win. But as the days pass, the tension grows. Teddy sees the news of Michelle's disappearance everywhere, and his anxiety starts to spiral. Back in the basement, Michelle is becoming a problem for him. She refuses to eat. Teddy loses his temper and gets even stricter. Scared for her life, Michelle finally breaks and says she'll obey. They demand a recorded confession. Awkwardly, she says into the camera, "Yes, I am an alien." It sounds fake, and Teddy knows it. He tells her to stop acting. Michelle looks at him sadly and says, "It sounds fake because I am human. How can I confess?" She tells him, "Teddy, you have a mental issue. I'm a psychiatrist. Talk to me. You've seen too much fake stuff online and you believe it all. Aliens aren't here." This pushes Teddy over the edge. In a fit of rage, he slaps her hard. Don is absolutely terrified now. He asks Teddy, "What's going to happen in space?" Teddy says they'll go for a few hours to save the world and then come back. But Don is struggling. He tells Teddy that those injections are giving him hallucinations. Teddy doesn't care. He's obsessed with the confession. He decides to use torture. He puts Michelle's head into a machine and starts applying pressure. It's agonizing. She begs for mercy and finally screams out that she is an alien. Teddy laughs, but instead of stopping, he turns the power up even more. Don is yelling at him to stop, but Teddy keeps going until the machine breaks and the fuses blow. Teddy checks her pulse and sees she's just passed out. He tells Don, "See? A human would have burned to death, but she just fainted. This proves she has alien powers. She must be royalty." The next day, Teddy brings a badly injured Michelle to the dining room and ties her to a chair for dinner. She can barely speak. Teddy asks her why she's killing the bees. Michelle whispers that bees do so much for humans, asking for nothing in return, and without them, humans would starve. Then she says something cryptic that the bees will return, but in much larger numbers. Then Michelle changes the subject. She tells Teddy, "I know you, and I knew your mom." She explains that Teddy's mother was a patient in a medical trial for people trying to quit drugs, but the medicine failed. Teddy explodes. He warns her not to say his mother's name, accusing her of killing her. Michelle says they tried to pay for the mistake, but Teddy yells that money doesn't fix a life. In a blind rage, he starts choking Michelle. Don tries to pull him off, but Michelle manages to kick Teddy away and tries to bolt for it. Just then, a car pulls up. It's a police officer. He's searched everywhere except this house. Teddy is acting incredibly nervous, and the officer gets suspicious. Downstairs, Don is guarding Michelle with a gun. Michelle starts talking to Don, telling him that Teddy is dragging him down a dark path that he can't escape from. Shocked, Don asks her one last time, "Are you really an alien?" Michelle says, "Yes." Don asks if she has a ship, and she says yes, promising to take him with her if he lets her go. Don is torn. He doesn't know if she's lying, but he knows he can't fight his cousin anymore. He says something heartbreaking. "Tell Teddy I love him." Then, he puts the gun to his own neck and pulls the trigger. His blood splatters all over Michelle. The officer hears the shot and knows something is wrong. But before he can move, Teddy sneaks up behind him and kills him. Teddy rushes downstairs and finds his brother dead on the floor. He is devastated. He points his gun at Michelle, ready to end it, but she stops him. "We have the cure," she says, "and your mother is still alive." Teddy is stunned. Michelle claims his mother is just changing, that the medicine was actually an alien experiment to upgrade human genes. She tells him there's an antidote in her car that will wake her up. She gives him the name of the hospital. Teddy doesn't fully trust her, so he breaks her leg so she can't escape while he's gone. He finds the antidote and rushes to the hospital. There she is! His mother! In a coma! He's so desperate for hope that he doesn't think twice. He pours the antidote into her IV drip, but instead of waking up, the machines go wild. His mother dies in total agony. Teddy realizes Michelle betrayed him. She took his last bit of hope just to hurt him. Back at the house, Michelle manages to get the keys from Don's body and frees herself. She looks through Teddy's computer and finds all his research and data on the disease. She's shocked by what she sees, but she doesn't run. She waits for Teddy. When he arrives, she asks him how many aliens he's killed. Teddy is silent. Michelle's tone completely shifts. She sounds different now, cold and ancient. She tells him the true history of Earth. She says the 75th alien group found Earth back when dinosaurs lived here. They accidentally brought a virus that killed the dinosaurs, and out of guilt, they created humans to save the planet. But humans turned out to be cruel and destructive. The aliens have been debating whether to heal humanity or wipe them out. I wanted humans to survive, she tells him. I tried to report only the good news, but you ruined it. She tells him the deadline for the decision is tomorrow. She orders Teddy to help her finish her mission, or her people will destroy everything. Having lost his brother and his mother, Teddy has nothing left to live for. He agrees. On the night of the eclipse, Michelle takes Teddy to her office. She types a code into a simple calculator. It's actually a device. She points to a cupboard and says, "It's a teleporter." Teddy insists on going first because he doesn't trust her to stay behind. Michelle agrees and sends him in, but Teddy has a final plan. He wants to destroy the machine from the inside to save Earth from the aliens. As Michelle starts the countdown, a massive explosion rips through the office. Michelle is knocked unconscious. Later, Michelle wakes up in an ambulance. She hears the news that the bomber, Teddy, has vanished. She immediately rips out her IVs, jumps out of the ambulance, and runs back to the ruins of her office. The closet is still standing. She steps inside, it glows brightly, and she disappears. We then see a massive spaceship. Michelle arrives and stands before the alien leader to show her report. The aliens see that humans are still foolish and self-destructive, just like Teddy, who ended up killing himself in the blast. They ask why she lost contact, and she explains that her hair was shaved. Teddy was right. Her hair really was an antenna. The aliens make their final decision: kill all humans. Michelle walks over to a machine and pushes a single button. On Earth, a silent energy wave spreads across the globe. Everywhere it touches, humans simply fall over and die. There's no screaming, just silence. Soon, every human is gone, leaving only the animals behind. As the credits roll, we see a bee landing on a flower. Just like Michelle told Teddy, the bees have returned in huge numbers. Without humans, the world begins to heal. The story ends in a world that is finally quiet, beautiful, and completely human-free.